Let's talk about some breaking developments on another scandal for the White House. There are new calls from a powerful Republican this morning for the administration to appoint a special counsel to also investigate the IRS, who targeted conservative groups. Critics are questioning the tax agency's role as well as chief enforcer of much of President Obama's health care law upcoming. Joining us now, John Fund, columnist for National Review magazine, co-author of Who's Counting? Hey, John, good morning.
Thanks, Jamie.
They've already gotten involved in this. The IRS is tasked, A, with being nonpartisan and neutral. I'll ask you about that. But also with implementing, going forward, at least 47 provisions of Obamacare. Can they do this fairly?
Well, it's very unclear. The Attorney General of Oklahoma currently has a lawsuit against the federal government claiming the IRS has broken the law by taking onto itself the power to issue subsidies and various other things to the states and to people involved in Obamacare. So that's very questionable, and there are a lot of constitutional scholars who say the IRS aggregated a whole bunch of power to itself it didn't have the right to do. In addition, there's the competence issue. The Inspector General of the IRS, this is the same guy you've seen on congressional testimonies, Mr. George, testified back in March. There's a big problem here with the IRS handling 47 complicated provisions of the law. He says the call centers are already swamped with people asking questions not about their tax returns, but about Obamacare. There's a real question whether or not this agency, which hasn't covered itself in glory recently, actually can do the job Congress as said it should do. Right, and
it was a regulatory power grab in a way because they were tasked with Obamacare, right, which is complicated enough, a tax code few people truly understand.
No one.
And I hope somebody does at the IRS.
No, call them up. You'll get two different answers no matter what you ask them.
Well, there are small business owners that provide more jobs than anybody else. President Obama has said he wants to get back to that on his agenda. And they're really concerned about the fines that the IRS will be implementing if you don't get health care for all of your employees. And the question is, if conservative groups were admittedly targeted with exemption status, what about with these fines?
The fines are going to create a real problem because a lot of businesses are going to say, you know, it's cheaper to pay the fine than continue giving health care coverage to my employees. That sort of puts the lie to President Obama's statement, if you like your current health care coverage, you can keep it. Well, if your employer drops you, you're not keeping it. In addition, we have another problem with the IRS right now, which is I seriously doubt whether or not Americans realize the IRS has just come out with a sticker shock figure. They say a family of four, a health care policy bought through these exchanges of Obamacare will cost $20,000 a year.
Big gulp. I mean, that's amazing. And then Sarah Hall Ingram is going to be the one who will be running this division, and so many questions came up with the exemption post that she had. But the other question I have is the fight against Obamacare to repeal it is hardly done. And will this situation with the IRS and the investigation provide, quote unquote, new talking points or ammunition for those who want to toss Obamacare?
Great question. Look, you have two of the most unpopular things in America right now in collision. IRS, Obamacare. Those are both very unpopular. I think they are so unpopular, Democrats are panicking that this will be the major issue in the 2014 election, the failure of Obamacare to work. I think we're going to see calls in Congress by Democrats to have a moratorium, a pause, a delay in the implementation of Obamacare. And I think, you know, Obamacare may not be dead, but I think its delay is soon going to come upon us.
And we know the impact of that will be on the American people. Interesting, John. So glad we brought you in on this topic.
Thanks, Jamie.
Okay, thank you so much. Eric?
Jamie, keeping us safe.